apparently Mrs. Pence is not a fan of President Trump. Now, this is according to a former Trump campaign aide. Now, according to her, Karen Pence finds Trump incredibly vile. Now, The Atlantic reports that both Mike and Karen Pence were taken aback when the 2005 Access Hollywood tape, in which Trump is heard saying, things like this.
Grab him by the pussy?
Well, when that leaked, of course, Mike and Karen Pence were like, holy crap. In fact, a former campaign aide told the publication that Karen was, quote, disgusted. She finds him reprehensible, just totally vile, the former campaign aide added. So, hey man, Karen Pence apparently not in favor of having her pussy grabbed. Yet her husband is still the Vice President of the United States and still backing President Trump. Now, that's very interesting. There's more. A former campaign aide also said that after the tape surfaced, Republican Party officials expected that they would be able to get Trump to drop out of the presidential race before the second debate, according to The Atlantic. Little did they know, he has no shame. Well, shit, I knew that. Yeah, of course President Trump has no shame. Look at all the things that he's done. Look at all the things that he said and constantly says. Yes, he has no shame. He's all about 100% self-promotion. He's also a pathological liar. And he lies about anything, and then he lies about lies. It's crazy. And look, he even started lying about the tape that he admitted to earlier. Like, oh, it's this locker room talk. That was me. Yes, I was on the bus. I was talking to Billy Bush. And I said those things, but don't worry, it's locker room talk. I didn't actually mean it. And then later on, he's like, actually, I didn't say that. No, I wasn't even there. It must have been a doctored tape. Are you serious? Okay, on tape, we saw you coming out of the bus. Are you saying that's not you? Ridiculous. Again, pathological liar. And you know what's interesting about that? This whole thing, him being completely shameless, that has only helped him. See, what a lot of people don't understand, and maybe Karen Pence doesn't understand, or maybe she does, maybe they all do, is that there are certain members of the Republican base that are truly deplorable. Okay? The people that still stand behind Trump and don't care about the allegations against Roy Moore, they are deplorable. They're terrible people. I can't get around that. You can't sit there and look at this and be like, no, these people are stand-up people. No, they're not. They're not. They willingly ignore truth. They willingly ignore who these people really are. And they help them. And they support them. And they stand by them. Deplorable. There's only one word for it. They don't care. When it comes to grabbing women by the genitals, that's fine. Hey, at least he's not a Democrat, guys. At least he's not a Democrat. In Alabama, Roy Moore molested a 14-year-old. He got kicked out of malls for preying on teenage girls. But voters are like, at least he's not a Democrat. These are the worst kinds of people. And yet, the Republican Party, they know who their base is. They know. They know. Of course they know. And they do nothing. In fact, the RNC just reinstated ties to Roy Moore because guess what? He's winning. And he's going to win. He's going to win against Doug Jones. I called it a while ago. I called on Alabama to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Prove to me that you're not going to vote for somebody who's a pedophile. Who's a disgusting monster. They're going to vote for him because, look, that's who they are. They don't care. They don't care. He's going to be the next senator from Alabama. Bank on it. The Republicans are going to seat him because they know that the Republican base loves him. They don't care at all what he did. And maybe, look, there are some that they don't believe it. 71% of Republican voters in Alabama do not believe the accusations. More than 90% of those did not find the allegations credible, blamed the Democrats, while 80% said the media was to blame. So these people, aside from being complete partisan hacks and going, no, we don't believe anything because Roy Moore says the allegations are false. It must be the Democrats. It must be the Democrats. And then, of course, 80% of them said, look, the media, they just make things up. They make things up. It's true that conservative media makes things up. We pointed that out before. We found them doing that. And look, if you want to point out that, hey man, look, the media, you know, the mainstream media, the corporate media, they have a bias. Absolutely. I would 100% agree with you on that. They do have a bias. Sometimes it's a conservative bias. Sometimes, but most of the time, it's an establishment bias. And we've talked about that before. But if you're going to claim that the media just completely makes things up out of whole cloth, you are 100% wrong. If it were true that they were making things up in order to help the establishment, for example, okay, why did they get rid of an ABC journalist over getting the Michael Flynn story wrong? That Michael Flynn story obviously would have been super, super helpful to a case against President Trump, saying that, oh, President Trump had ordered Michael Flynn to go and speak to Russia while he was then candidate Trump. That would have been a big, big problem, okay? And look, even doing so as president-elect would have, I think, in my opinion, the fact that he did do it when he was president-elect, did go to undermine the current administration. But that's actually less worse than doing it as, you know, the possibility that he did it as a candidate, because it could prove Russian collusion. But anyway, he got the reporter, Brian Ross, got suspended for it. And then ABC was like, I'm so sorry. We're so sorry. We dropped the ball on this. This is not true. Complete retraction, right? Now, if they made shit up, if mainstream media, if corporate media just made things up out of whole cloth, then why would they suspend him? No, if you made things up, wouldn't they get a pat on the back and say, good job, good job? That's what they do at Breitbart. That's what they do at a lot of these conservative sites. But they don't do it in corporate media. Again, if you want to go after them for their bias, and I certainly do, then that's absolutely a 100% fair game. The smear machine they ran against Bernie Sanders was epic. But at the same time, comparing them and saying that they're exactly like conservative media and saying that they make things up out of whole cloth is just ridiculous. Look, these voters, they live in an alternate universe. And I think it's partly because of their media, but also that their belief that Democrats or liberals, they're all evil, they're out trying to destroy us, they're trying to destroy America, our values, and our way of life. So we cannot believe anything they say. And certainly 100% we cannot vote for a Democrat no matter what, even if it means voting for a pedophile on our side. Look, Republican politicians, and they feed into this, man. Mike Pence, Karen Pence, a lot of these Republicans, Mitch McConnell, they feed into this. You know why? It's because it helps them win and pass legislation like tax cuts for their donors. So yeah, while Mrs. Pence is apparently disgusted with Trump, her husband, he still took that job. He didn't make a stand. He didn't do the principled thing and say, I can no longer be part of this campaign. No, he took the job. Because in the end, they will always serve themselves and their donors. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.